George's brother, Robert Zimmerman, has garnered a lot of attention for not only supporting George, but for actually blaming Trayvon for his own death. Robert says his brother did not attack an unarmed teenager.
Trayvon is the victim of many things. He's certainly not, and the jury has found that he is not. Our system has found that he is not. He is not the victim of a murder. He is not the victim of a manslaughter. And as much as you want to spin it, or talk about Skittles, or trash George on your program or any other CNN program, he is an innocent man. He did not break the law.
It's not about trashing him. It's not about trashing him. It's just, it turned out to be a fact after George pulled that trigger and killed Trayvon Martin that Trayvon had been unarmed and just had a bag of Skittles.
No, he was armed with a Sidewalk. He was armed with his nose-breaking fist, and he was armed with whatever aggression he brought to that moment. You know, what bag of Skittles or bag of M&Ms or bag of whatever you want.
Roland, what are your thoughts?
I find the defense to be utterly idiotic and pathetic to say he was armed with a Sidewalk. Show me the last time a Sidewalk discharged a bullet. That's utter nonsense.
Okay, let me ask you both. Do you think George Zimmerman has any chance of ever leading a normal life after this verdict? And do you think that his life is perhaps in danger?
In terms of his life being in danger, you might have some vigilante out there. I hope no one ever does that, because I don't believe in taking anybody's life. But yeah, he actually can live a normal life. Unfortunately, Sabrina Fulton and Tracy Martin will never ever be able to say the same thing about their son Trayvon living a full life, because George Zimmerman is a murderer.
I disagree about him being able to live a normal life. I define normal as maintaining my serenity, which includes walking down the street without having to look over my shoulder, without worrying who's going to put a bullet in me, and he will forever, rightly or wrongly, always have a lack of freedom.
I would have loved if Trayvon Martin could have been able to actually do the exact same thing. If he could have been able to walk down the street, and not look over his shoulder.
He shouldn't have died, Roland.
And he died at the hands of the man. So you know what? Maybe the sentence of George Zimmerman is that he's going to have to live this life because it's a life that he created, and it didn't have to be this way.
I don't disagree with you that his actions set in motion the death of Trayvon Martin, and I'm just saying factually he will never have freedom.
Well, certainly Casey Anthony has not lived a normal life since that acquittal. O.J. Simpson has not lived a normal life since that acquittal. I think both of them have been greatly impacted by it, even though they skated on the charges. Mark, did the system fail in the Casey Anthony case?
No, the system worked the same way. I disagreed with the verdict, just like Roland disagrees with this verdict, but they had to find her not guilty because the evidence was not there, the same way the evidence was not there here.
Roland, do you agree?
I believe the system failed when you have unjust laws that are allowed to remain on the books to allow folks to sliver through. Absolutely.
Did the system fail in the O.J. Simpson case?
Well, first of all, in the O.J. case, the criminal system failed, but the civil system worked. It's all the same system, just different departments.
I want to read you a comment that juror B37 made. I think he was frustrated with the whole situation in the neighborhood and with the break-ins and the robberies, and they actually arrested somebody not that long ago. I mean, I would feel comfortable having George, referring to on a neighborhood watch program. I think he has learned a good lesson. Now, at that point, the juror was asked, do you feel sorry for Martin, Trayvon Martin, and do you feel sorry for Zimmerman? And the answer, and I'll paraphrase to save time, was the juror said, I do feel sorry for George Zimmerman because of the situation he got himself into.
Correct, but Dr. Phil, I've had numerous verdicts where my clients are acquitted, but jurors wait for us outside the courtroom and say, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that. In other words, a not guilty verdict doesn't mean Zimmerman did everything right. Hell, some of them might feel, and this one juror doesn't speak for all of them, some might have actually felt that he did something really wrong. But the question is, legally, did the prosecution meet their burden? And they did not, and so legally they had to find him not guilty. The Casey Anthony jurors, many of them cried in having to find Casey not guilty.
All right, now Roland, let me ask you this. Do you believe, flawed as it is, that the jury came up with the only result they could, given what the prosecution put before them?
The jury made its decision. I simply disagree with the decision. It is bad. It is unjust.